here. The Kennel is rocking tonight for some college basketball in the West Coast Conference. The Dons of San Francisco on the road to take on the 13-5 Zags. Believe it or not, it's the first game with the full students here in the new year. And Nolan Hickman and his Gonzaga teammates happy to have the support of the kids. One of the great atmospheres in all of college basketball. West Coast Conference standings. Why is this game so big? Both these teams are a game behind. Undefeated St. Mary's 4-1. Wales lead the conference at 5-0. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham, great to have you with us. Look, it's always fun to be here. We love coming to the Kennel. But when the kids are behind us like this, it makes it almost unlike any other place.
There's very few environments that are like this place. And the student section is what makes college athletics so great. It's different from the NBA vibes. You get the students, they're passionate, they take pride in the name on the front of the jersey, and the Kennel's one of the best in the country, and we know it's going to be rocking here tonight. All
right, let's focus on the game for the Zags. This season hasn't quite gone to plan so far. A change in the starting lineup, though, a couple games ago seems to have sparked Gonzaga.
Yeah, it put Ben Gregg in the starting lineup for Dusty Stromer, and all Ben Gregg has done is average 10 points per game, shoot the ball very efficiently, coming off his first double-double that he's had in his entire career at USD with 15 points and 11. And then there's this young man. You might not have heard about him. He didn't put up huge numbers at Missouri State last year, but there's NBA draft scouts in the building tonight, and he's one of the most improved players in college basketball, ranking in the top 10 nationally in 3 different categories: double-doubles, rebounds, and he's second in the nation in field goal percentage.
Really an amazing story, and his San Francisco team has lost 27 straight games to Gonzaga. They got a chance to pull off an upset tonight. USF is good. Gonzaga has the ball first as we are underway in this very important West Coast Conference game. Anton Watson has become a star very gradually over the years. There is Ben Gregg. Sean was just talking about him. He drives to the basket but missed the shot. And now San Francisco has it for the first time.
If you watch the Dons last year, they had Khalil Shabazz and like to take a lot of quick threes. This team doesn't shoot nearly as many threes as they did a year ago. They do it a little bit different this year because they want number 10 to have his hands on the ball as much as possible.
And what a matchup that is now. Graham Ike has switched off to guard Mobo, but when Anton Watson's on him, that's one of the best defenders in the country. Mobo came up short with the left hand.
They kind of pulled the string on it. Didn't extend out, finish all the way through. You know, for both these teams, for Gonzaga, there's a little bit of pressure on them. They buzz on the outside because they've lost a couple of games this season that fans think they should have won. They probably believe they should have won. So they're not ranked for the first time in seemingly forever. They have some pressure on them. And for San Francisco, they got to handle this environment early. They got to calm their nerves and understand, hey, we're good enough to be on the floor right now, and we can win this game if we execute and do what we're supposed to.
It sure does feel like a really important start to the game for the Dons. Meanwhile, Mobo, my goodness, hit the floor hard. And that one hurts. He slammed to the floor, did not brace his fall at all. Head coach of San Francisco, Chris Gerlofson, obviously concerned. Mobo gets up, tough kid. Man.
Shot goes up, big body, and Graham Ike came underneath him. And fall like that, everybody just pause, wait, make sure he gets back up.
Full pressure, full court from the Zags. San Francisco handles it no problem. Nice shot of Joms handling the ball. Big point guard, really good passer. He's going to shoot the 3 and miss it. Tip ball. Newberry off the deflection from Mobo, and there's the first basket of the game.
Really key for San Francisco to manufacture some points in second chance. And they can do that. They can get to the... Gonzaga's not as elite as they've been in the past at cleaning up their own glass.
Hickman runner. That one too strong. Loose ball. Hickman grabs it away. Wide open. Ben Gregg 3. Good!
Best time to shoot a 3 is off an offensive rebound, and Ben Gregg was shot ready before the pass came to him.
He's an energy guy. He's a scrappy player, but he can shoot. Newberry over top, and Mobo got another hand on the ball, but knocked it out of bounds, so the Zags will have it back.
Listen, I like the move of Ben Gregg. You and I had talked about it even a little bit earlier on before it was officially made. I thought that was a move that Mark Few should look at. And there's two reasons why. One is I think Ben Gregg is an energy giver, got a little bit of an edge to his game at times. I think that's infectious for the guys that are out on the court. Beautiful pass.
Really good feed.
But the second part of that is to take some pressure off of Dusty Stromer and allow him to kind of naturally progress in this program. I mean, you're asking a freshman, wasn't expected to, by the way, to take on this role, but due to injury, to replace Julian Strother. And the guy that played that position before Julian was Corey Kispert. Those are pros. And it's hard to deal with that expectation.
Quickly down the court, Nembhard, and that one is going to turn into a turnover, which hasn't happened for Ryan Nembhard in a long time. Lobo fumbled the ball. He almost gave it up.
That breaks Nembhard's streak of 28 consecutive assists, counting the 2 tonight, in between turnovers. That's an amazing streak that lasted over 3 games.
Nice look from Newberry, and Thomas knocks down the 3. Malik Thomas, the USC transfer, who's really coming on strong.
He has played a lot better this year, and that's kind of, you hit the portal, you're looking for guys that can impact your roster. Chris Rose found a couple of them.
Yeah, Mobo not the only one. Thomas has really played well. That was a nice left-handed finish from Nembhard over the top feed, and Nembhard steals it away. Not this time for Ben Gregg. Ike got cut off. Watson had it stripped away, but a whistle and a foul. That'll take us to our first timeout.
Good start, both teams. I think everybody's kind of just starting to settle into the rhythm we're going to see the rest of the night.
Been the case for so many WCC opponents against Gonzaga. This series history is lopsided. Zags have won 27 straight. Last time the Dons won anywhere against Gonzaga, February of 2012. Last time they won in Spokane, February of 1989.
I was 11.
That's a long time ago.
I was a Hulkamaniac. Say my prayers, eat my vitamins.
Mark Few wasn't that old himself. Mark was
the Macho Man, Roddy Piper. That was my era. So you're telling me that's the last time they won?
That's the last time that San Francisco has won. And of course, it wasn't this version of the Kennel. It was a different building, but last time the Dons won at Gonzaga. Anton Watson out of the timeout, almost had it stolen away, and they're going to call a foul against Malik Thomas. So a reach-in foul against the Dons. The Wyoming transfer. Good pass. Hickman comes up short on the 3. Marcus Williams with the rebound. San Francisco needs a lot more from him tonight.
Oh, there's no doubt. And when he's playing right, things are really good. But the 3-point percentage in particular this season has dropped over 7%.
Launches the 3 and it gets stuck between the rim and the backboard. The dreaded wedgie. You don't want that when you're a good shooter, and he is a good shooter.
Well, I was just talking about how his percentage has dropped. I mean, but look, he's a guy that has to get going, and when you're not shooting the ball well, look to attack and be aggressive off the bounce.
Those of you joining us here inside the Kennel in Spokane, Washington. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham. Big game in the West Coast Conference. Shot clock winding down for San Francisco. A Dons offensive rebound. 7-5 the early lead for the Zags. Juado Newberry had the ball stripped away, but he was fouled, so he'll go to the free throw line. It's been a good start on both sides. Mark Few's team showing one of the themes of the early part of the season. The Zags resume is not as strong as it usually is this time of year. These conference games are critical for Gonzaga.
Yeah, every game matters now. This is the first time a couple weeks ago when they lost to Santa Clara. They fell out of the top 25 for the first time in 143 polls. An amazing streak that came to an end but an uncharacteristic season that there's a lot of talk and a lot of buzz about this team. What does it take to be successful and uphold the tradition and the bar and the standard that Gonzaga has set for itself? Like sometimes you talk about it, it's not the expectation that the outside has set. It's the expectation that has been earned since 1999 in this program. And when you join a program like this, you understand that. And for this team, look, they've got one loss in conference play. They sit a game behind St. Mary's, who comes up here a week from Saturday. Now the students are back. They're trying to build momentum now in conference play, where San Francisco is trying to steal it.
Don's program building momentum. Anton Watson, that three almost went down. Braden Huff just in the game. Offensive rebound and couldn't finish with the putback. Now a whistle and they'll call a foul against Gonzaga. Everybody's looking up right now, and it's still relatively early, but St. Mary's 5-0. Santa Clara, that one loss to St. Mary's, 5-1. Dons and Zags both a full game behind. That means a loser of this game, 2 games behind St. Mary's. Big foul call there also, because that was on Anton Watson. That's his second. He goes to the bench with 14:32 to go in the first half.
One of the most versatile and better players in the entire conference, and certainly the most important player, I feel, for this Gonzaga Bulldogs roster. He's a great defensive player to go along with everything he brings at the offensive end.
San Francisco ball down 2. Jonathan Mobo had a hard fall in the first minute plus of this game. Back in off the bench. Marcus Williams, the 3. That one no good. And Huff, good defensive rebound.
San Francisco really struggled last time out against St. Mary's. Just 2 of 17 from 3. They're 1 for 6 to start this game.
And that was a home game. They got dominated by St. Mary's. They've been playing really well. Ryan Nembhard finds Ben Gregg. He's already hit 1 3. That one was well short. And then Huff with a foul going for the offensive board.
There's a couple of fouls now going for offensive rebounds, and we've seen that happen before. And the opportunity to get some free throw lines. If you're Chris Gerlofson, getting to the free throw line against Gonzaga's defense, getting guys in foul trouble, making them a little less assertive, a little less aggressive. Zags already got 4 fouls. Look to drive. I would stop with the 3-point shots right now and try to attack the Zags in the paint.
Mobo attacks and finishes with the left hand. So there's Jonathan Mobo, second leading scorer in this conference, his first basket of the game. A remarkable story. Played at Missouri State last year with really modest numbers. His game has exploded with San Francisco. There's Nembhard for 3.
Nembhard's game has exploded over the last week or so as he's just settled down and making the simple play. And Mark, you told us today, he's making better decisions with the basketball in his hands.
Isaiah Hawthorne just calmly hits the 3. Dusty Stromer, the freshman, in off the bench for the Zags, gave him a little opening, and Hawthorne hit the shot right in his face. Back to Ben Gregg, 3. That one off the mark. Mobo, bad outlet pass, just throws it away. And he tells his coach, ball just slipped out of my hand.
I think if you're San Francisco right now, you're looking at 7 minutes into this game, Dave. You've got a 1-point lead. You're feeling really good about how your game plan has played out. You haven't allowed the Zags a lot of transition points. The Zags are still one of the best in the country at scoring in transition ahead of the defense. They've not been able to do that so far tonight.
So much of the challenge of playing here is like the guy guarding Nembhard, the freshman Ryan Beasley, Mobo, shot of jumps, never having played in this atmosphere. Nembhard 3, a little too strong. Because it is intimidating. Hawthorne another 3. That one off the rim. Gonzaga likes to push tempo. Hickman weaving his way through. Hickman, no.
The guards of San Francisco do an excellent job. The bigs are tapping the ball around, and guards are sweeping back in and trying to make sure they secure the possession.
It's a bigger, more physical group of guards for San Francisco this season.
Well, and it shows in their defensive metrics. Their defensive metrics are much better than where they were a season ago, and a lot of that has to be able to defend at the point of attack.
Stromer 3 goes over the backboard, no good. And that sends us to the under 12 timeout. 3-point lead for the Dons. Jonathan Mobo has come from almost nowhere to become one of the best players in this conference. We'll talk more about Jonathan right after this. College basketball is brought to you by Wendy's Biggie Bags. Stop by today and bet on a Biggie. Big crowd as always inside the kennel. 11:46 to go first half. San Francisco looking for their first win here in a generation plus. And they've got the 3-point lead, leaning on their star. An amazing story, really. Jonathan Mobo from West Palm Beach, Florida. 2 years in junior college. Went to Missouri State, and they hardly used him, at least not in the way that San Francisco is. His numbers were modest. He has exploded coming to the West Coast Conference.
Well, and look, he had perimeter skills, and you would have only known that if you watched him in high school. He started high school at 5'9". He grew to 6'7". Didn't start playing the post until his senior year, and then he went to the JUCO route. And that's where Kyle Bankhead, who recruited him in junior college when he was at Abilene Christian, saw him, Dave. And then he went to Missouri State, and they used him only in the post. And so Coach Bankhead knew that there was some more game that they could find in him. And this year they have freed him up, and he's one of the most improved players in the country and on the radar of NBA scouts.
Really remarkable. Played good defense there. The ball out of bounds off of USF. There's Kyle Bankhead, who actually played here at Gonzaga. Second year as assistant coach at USF. And you got to give him a lot of credit because he did remember, hey, this kid that I was recruiting a couple of years ago, I don't know what happened at Missouri State, but I really liked him. And San Francisco bet on that evaluation and won huge.
What did Mark Few say about it when he talked to us at shoot-around?
He said that's great scouting and evaluation. Stromer down low draws a foul.
Well, and when you have that, right, it's so important when your coaching staff, the head coach, that you trust your assistant coach too and their evaluation process, and you go back and you talk to some people and you understand what they could possibly become.
Just a great job by Kyle and the USF staff, and then to help Jonathan Mobo get better. Stromer makes the first free throw. We got 5 college hoops games for you on our ESPN schedule Saturday, starting with these 3. Number 4, Houston hosting Kansas State. That's at noon. At 2 Eastern, North Carolina on the road against Florida State. And then Clemson Duke at 4 Eastern. All coming up on Saturday on ESPN.
If you're not paying attention to Carolina, you should be.
Oh boy,
they have been bought in at the defensive end of the floor, and R.J. Davis played at an All-American level.
Stromer makes 1 of 2 free throws. Well, San Francisco's got to be, I think, pretty pleased with the way this game has started.
The Zags are just 1 for their last 9 from the field. Now the good news for them is it's not like San Francisco's been able to get too far away. Just a 2-point contest. They had Mobo on the roll there.
Yeah, shot of jumps, I think, was trying to find him. Hawthorne, shot clock winding down, and Hawthorne having a nice first half offensively.
He's already beaten his season average in points.
He's had a quiet year and I think a frustrating year. He looks good tonight.
I talked to Coach Gerlison, and you've had to have some tough conversation. There's some guys on your team that were playing big roles last year that all of a sudden have found themselves on the bench. What's that been like? And he said, it's been hard. He's like, but I think being honest and having truthful conversations and making sure they understand how they can still impact winning and the goal of what we're trying to accomplish, that's been the most important part, and the buy-in has still been there from guys like Hawthorne.
The USF, frankly, has just gotten a lot more talented. It's more crowded on this roster. Nice pass from Hawthorne down low. Newberry for 3, right side. Mobo, offensive rebound. Dishes to Newberry, who then fumbles it out of bounds. No. San Francisco keeps it. I thought that went off Newberry.
I think so to the entire kennel.
Mobo maybe being a little too unselfish.
I thought that should be Gonzaga's ball.
17 on the shot clock. There's Marcus Williams, a long 2. That one's short. His shooting struggles continuing here tonight in the early going. Williams then had it stripped away and stolen. Nembhard on the break. A little sloppy, but Ike comes away with it, misses the shot. He'll go to the free throw line.
Real sloppy play at really both ends of the floor, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, that last possession, a couple clean looks for San Francisco, couldn't get it done. You look for Mobo, he's behind the backboard, so he doesn't have a shot on the Hawthorne pass down, and it's just nothing right now. The rhythm of this game still has yet to be established.
Ike, meanwhile, at the free throw line. Guy averaged 19 and 9 a couple years ago at Wyoming. Sat out last year with an injury. Mobo comes out of the game. Big Vova Markovetsky comes in. 7-footer down low.
Great size, and you can use him in short spurts, and he can be highly effective. Very powerful player with his back to the basket around the rim.
Newberry tries to go back door. That wasn't a great pass. Stolen by Gonzaga.
Forcing the issue. Don't force it. Take something that's simple.
Left-handed pass in the corner, then Stromer drives. Ike against Markovetsky, got cut off by that size. Hickman, tough contested three is good.
Ties up the game. Nolan Hickman, shot clock winding down. Really good defense for a majority of that possession. A little fake, sidestep, creates an opportunity for space for Hickman.
Newberry to answer on this end.
But he's played a lot better this year as well. He has 6 10-point games. Season best was 22. He made 6 threes in that game against Portland when he had 22.
He can be a tough matchup. He's got size and strength, and he can shoot it from the outside. Working his way to the basket. Nice pass to Greg.
Well, Nembhard is outstanding at probing the defense. And if you react to that probe, he's going to find the open guy. If not, he's going to go up for the shot. Great job of awareness there by him to get that back line of the defense to collapse.
Hawthorne, another 3 try. That one was well off the mark. Karam'd out of bounds and off of the Dons.
Well, they haven't been able to get out in transition, but you can break down the defense by driving the seam, having great court vision, just like Ryan Nembhard does, making things easy for his teammate.
Hey, Fleming, Sean Farnham here from Gonzaga. San Francisco with a 1-point lead on the Zags. While we have a moment, Sean, why don't we go through your West Coast bias?
Yeah, you know, Pastner, he's an East Coast guy, used to be a West Coast guy. How about Tara Vanderveer becoming the winningest coach in college basketball, eclipsing Coach K? That was, of course, last over the weekend. Outstanding effort, Stanford's consistency. Cody Williams, rising stock, averaging 17 points per game since he's returned from injury for the Colorado Buffaloes. Could end up being the #1 pick overall in the draft. He is projected to be the #1 college player picked in the NBA draft this upcoming year. And if you haven't paid attention, the Mountain West Conference, they've got 3 in the Associated Press top 25. They could have 6 in the NCAA tournament. It is not out of the realm of possibility. It is madness in the Mountain West Conference last night. Nevada knocked off Colorado State. Every game has just been sensational to watch in that conference this year, and they deserve a lot of respect as far as a conference that's exceeding expectations and going to have multiple teams in the field come March.
And there is a little spillover effect too, because the field gets crowded. West Coast Conference has 4 or 5 really good teams at the top of this league, but might not be as many spots available as usual with the depth of the Mountain West. Anton Watson with 2 fouls back in the game. Draws a foul.
And Dave, part of that is you do your work in November and December. The Mountain West Conference did an outstanding job in November and December to kind of set the tone of the conference. And now you look at the metrics, I think they have 5 teams in the top 50 of the net rankings right now.
I think if St. Mary's were playing in November like it is now, they'd have a much better, stronger resume.
Tough November and December for them.
Just didn't play well, and now they're looking like the team that everybody expected them to be. Watson misses the free throw, so the shooting from the field and even from the line for the Zags has been ragged.
Usually this is at home. They are ultra efficient, just 31% from the field, and then missed both free throws. Those 2 of 6. Kevin Connors and Josh Pastner in studio right now. They're eagerly awaiting the under 4 timeout so they can tell us what they're going to talk about at halftime. We're eagerly awaiting to hear it.
I can't wait. Ryan Beasley, the freshman from the corner, too strong on the three. Beasley coming off his best game in his first year in college hoops. Now a whistle away from the ball and another San Francisco foul.
That's on Mobo underneath. That's his first personal foul from Mobo. But to finish it off, the WCC is 6-18 against the Mountain West Conference this year.
Yeah, not to show him. I mean, the WCC, proud basketball league. A lot of good players, a lot of great recent history. They left Watson open from three. Williams came over to help out, knocked it out of bounds. 16 to shoot. It's been a defense-dominated first half.
You're being kind, Dave.
It's
been an offensive struggle.
Ugly first half.
It's been a struggle offensively for both teams.
Gonzaga, Zags are not the shooting team that we usually see, but they are a good offensive team.
But that's because of their ability to score points in the paint, to play ahead in transition. They haven't gotten much of that so far in this game. San Francisco's defensive transition has been outstanding. They're going to take a look at the shot clock. The officials give a review, which gives us more time to talk about the offensive struggles in which we've seen.
Last time out, Gonzaga on the road. Now look, San Diego, not one of the more experienced, talented teams in the league right now, but San Diego gave up 105 at home to Gonzaga last time out. They're averaging, Zags are 85 plus points per game, top 10 in the country in points, field goal percentage.
Well, and that's where you look at what we've seen so far in the first half. It's been an uncharacteristic first half for Gonzaga based on the fact they're shooting 32% from the field, far below what their season average is. They're getting out rebounded by San Francisco. And that goes back to a point you made earlier. San Francisco is a much more physical and tougher team, in particular at the defensive end and on the glass, than they were a year ago.
Ike baseline, in and out. Stromer, tip, didn't go.
And that's one the young freshman has to finish.
Yeah, did a good job getting above the rim, getting his hand on the ball, and just couldn't tap it in. Ryan Beasley against Stromer. Newberry to the bucket. Travel.
Dave, have you ever watched Jeffrey Anderson, the official? He's the Roger Craig of officials.
The high knees?
The high knees.
He's got it.
I mean, you have to love the high knees run down the floor every single time.
I like it. I like a little style.
Yes, he brings style and flair to officiating.
He's got great hands too, just like Roger Craig.
I think he has his own Twitter account from people that take video of him doing the high knees down the floor.
Okay. Oh, and Hickman hits his second three. That's a good sign for Gonzaga. Mark Few's team back ahead. Into the corner. That one in and out, no good. Malik Thomas had a good look. Nemhard so fast down the court. Watson out of control. Made the shot anyway.
How quick can it happen? Ask anybody that stepped in this building and they will let you know. The Zags, it only takes a minute and you blink your eye and you're trailing. Second span. And the thing about it is, when Gonzaga starts to go on a run, so many teams in this building start to speed up, thinking that they got to try to get back. And they break the rhythm of how they really want to play.
Just a terrible lob pass intercepted by Stromer. Now that had no chance. Hickman along the baseline, scores again.
How well has Nolan Hickman played in this first half?
Now shot of Jobs just threw it right to Ryan Nemhard. So the Dons have decided they're just not going to value the ball.
Turnovers are a backbreaker in this building.
Hickman feeling it, came up short. So this time San Francisco got away with the turnover. How can they get Mobo a little more involved on this side? Let him drive, score. Oh, he traveled. Wow. I don't know about that one.
I think Mobo agrees with that call. Yep, he did.
4 turnovers, last 5 possessions.
Can't do that in this building.
San Francisco
Can't do it against Gonzaga in anywhere, but in particular in this building, especially with the students back in.
They're going to call the illegal screen on Graham Ike. That's his second personal, so both Watson and Ike have 2 fouls. There's still 4+ minutes to go in the first half. And Marcus Williams, one of the Don's top scorers, 0 for 3. He has not had a point in this game. Corner 3, Thomas hits it. Malik Thomas snaps the drought for San Francisco.
They needed that in a big-time way. You get the offensive foul, which means empty possession. You get the foul on Graham Ike, and then you drain a 3. Last thing you want to do is allow separation for Gonzaga. But the thing that we love more than anything is officials that bring energy. And Jeffrey Anderson, you are one of one in the world of official. The Roger Craig, high knees all day here in the Pacific Northwest.
I need to see a little more, Jeffrey. Come on.
Passer. That would be very un-American of him. No, I agree. He's exactly right. I think that the key always is, right, to limit that exchange. We saw that 7-0 spurt happen real quick, and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, this could be a bad 3 or 4 minutes to end the half for San Francisco. But every time there's been that Nolan Hickman 3, it's been a 3 answer at the other end of the floor. And as this game progresses, San Francisco will inherently build confidence in that. And the pressure will begin to mount more and more on Gonzaga if they can stay within an arm's distance. Now, if you allow 3 or 4 more of those spurts, well, then you're going to have a major issue.
Ryan Nembhard made the first front end, so he earns the second free throw. And made them both. And for the Dons, we showed that graphic game summary so far. Jonathan Mobo, the star for San Francisco. 2 points, only 2 field goal attempts in the first half.
Yeah, good job defensively, and that's Anton Watson a lot of the time. Anton's on him right now. He's one of the best defensive players in the country. His versatility, but his strength and inability to take opponents out of what they want to do. Force them into their secondary or worse move.
Beasley came up way short, got his own miss.
Mobo hasn't really been aggressive yet either. Like, there's been times where I feel like rip and go, be assertive, force the issue a little bit.
That was an assertive move. Thomas missed it. Mobo offensive board.
Go back up with that. You're standing underneath the rim.
No kidding. Now he did find Hawthorne, who hits another 3. So it turns out well for the Dons, but Mobo, even when he gets the ball near the rim, just isn't looking to shoot.
Well, and Josh Pastner would agree with me on this one too. If you're going to pull off an upset and you're on the road, you need somebody to play much better than they've played all season long. And Isaiah Hawthorne here in the first half, he's got 10 points. His season average is just over 4 points per game. And his ability to come off the bench and provide a spark for San Francisco has been huge here in the first half.
There's Mobo just squared up. Watson was there, but he hit the shot right over top him to tie the game.
I feel like I mentioned Josh Pastner a couple times. I should say Kevin Connors is an amazing host on set back in Raps.
What a block.
KC, I love you. Mid-major minute. I can't wait to see the updated poll.
Can't go too analyst heavy. Got to give the host.
It's like, you know, I have to mention your name more. I've been watching other games, and sometimes the analyst really says the play-by-play guy's name a lot, and I feel like I don't do that too much with you, Dave.
Thank you, Sean.
No worries, Dave.
Newberry down the lane. And Newberry, nice move off the glass.
San Francisco's got some strong players, and Mark Few looks at the last couple possessions, 3 straight possessions that the Dons have been able to score. 7-0 run in the last minute and 13. So we talked about Gonzaga's 7-0 run. Well, here comes San Francisco defensively, walling up, meeting up top, and then being able to run and initiate their offense at the other end of the floor. slow in rotations for Huff along the back side of that. Newberry just a rip and go. He's had a very good first half as well.
And I think it is, Braden Huff has done a nice job for Gonzaga. He's a young player growing into a bigger role. He's had some big offensive games, still has some development on the defensive end. So if you got Ike, you got Watson in foul trouble, maybe Gonzaga's a little more vulnerable than usual around the rim.
Yeah, you've got to attack it, though, and you've got to be aggressive. And remember, there were 4 fouls on Gonzaga at like the 12-minute mark. There's only been 1 foul called against them since then, and that's because also San Francisco's been settling for a lot of perimeter shots. Be assertive, be aggressive, in particular now that you have 2 fouls on both the bigs.
So final 2 minutes of this first half. Dons of San Francisco looking for an historic win here. They haven't won at Gonzaga since 1989. And they've lost 27 straight overall. Hickman threw it to the bench.
And I don't even know what remotely he saw out of the corner of his eye, because Dusty Stromer was 5 feet away. Opportunity. I go to Mobo and play out of him again. He's in a good position to catch it. Their pressure, if their pressure of the spin off of Anton Watson might be available for Mobo, with as much as he's kind of trying to push him off the block.
Newberry, a little hesitation move. Watson, good help defense, cut him off. Mobo, Newberry fumbled it. Shot clock winding down. Newberry didn't know it, and that's a shot clock violation.
That's a really poor possession. You've got a 2-point lead. You've got Gonzaga feeling that pressure a little bit. You don't even get a shot attempt up.
Ninth turnover. They're leading on the road with a -6 turnover differential. Hickman double teamed. Good extra pass. Stromer 3. Good!
Well, Dusty Stromer, he had his feet set, got it in the shooter's pocket, and let it rip.
Beasley fouled.
What a big shot for Dusty Stromer, though, at the other end of the floor. We talked about it as a freshman taken out of the starting lineup, try to remove some of the pressure, just simplify the game. No hesitation, pretty good closeout there, and number 4 in white got his feet set and dialed it in. A top 100 recruit coming out of high school, Southern California. Played at Notre Dame Sherman Oaks High School. Is off to a great start so far this season, that high school. Mercy Miller, who's going to go to Houston. The son of Master P, who you're a big fan of. His son goes to school at Notre Dame Sherman Oaks this year.
Sure, Ryan Beasley makes the first of 2 free throws. How about some women's college hoops on Sunday, 3 Eastern. Tennessee headed to the Pavilion to take on Ole Miss, 3 Eastern on Sunday.
The big game tonight between LSU and South Carolina. West Coast hoops very healthy. Corey Close's team at UCLA really strong. Colorado having a great year. USC, Utah, obviously Stanford.
Nembhard, he will go back to the free throw line. Ryan Nembhard, Andrew's brother. Andrew's having a really nice young NBA career. Finished his college career at Gonzaga. Ryan has followed Andrew to Spokane.
I saw Andrew last week, actually. The Pacers came down to the UCLA-Arizona game as they honored Benedict Mathurin and put him into the Ring of Honor.
Good on the first free throw.
Zags are shooting under 50% from the free throw line.
Junsuk Yo is going to help Mark Few make sure that Anton Watson does not pick up a 3rd foul in the final 30 seconds of the first half. Second free throw, good. San Francisco.
They're going to hold here for the final shot.
Presumably will.
Yeah. And to me, I'd put it actually in Newberry's hands. He's been very effective at the high post area, attacking off of that. You can set the on-ball screen, settle into that high post, and see if you can drive the man that just checked into the game.
Hawthorne down the lane, switch to the left hand. Newberry offensive board, missed it and then tipped it in. So 2 second chance opportunities. The final one goes down, and that bucket gives San Francisco a 1-point halftime lead.
Yeah, they've got a 7-point lead in rebounds on the game. They have a 6-3 advantage in second chance points, and a big one here to go to the half. They withstood a couple of runs. We thought this game would be tight, and it has not disappointed here in the first 20 minutes.
Chance for a huge win for San Francisco.
We get the highly anticipated halftime report next.
America holds its breath. Kevin Connors, Josh Pastner standing by. Oh, you thought we weren't going to show this again.
Come on, High Knees Ref. At High Knees Ref is the parody account, by the way. But my man brings the flair, the passion to the first half here in Spokane. The Roger Craig of officials, Jeffrey Anderson.
Nice step on our way to the start of the second half. Yeah, here we are with the students in full force. First time they've been here for a Zags home game since the new year, which is kind of hard to believe. And Gonzaga does not want to send these kids home unhappy. They got their hands full with the Dons.
Well, the Dons have done an outstanding job of getting back in defensive transition. This was not an offensive half for either team, but you get back in transition, you force the Zags to play in the half court, and then you allow yourself to have some guys step up, and even in an uncharacteristic way. And Newberry, you kind of need him to play to average. Averaging 8.3 points per game, he's got 10. Hawthorne, he's averaging 4 points per game. He has 10 in the first half. So when you have those two guys combined for 20 of your 31, and your go-to guy that's averaging 15 points per game has only attempted 3 shots, I think if you're USF, you're like, hey, we could grow our lead in the second half by getting Momo involved in this game more. Nolan Hickman was great in the first half. So was Ryan Nembhard, but it was the timeliness of the shots by Nolan Hickman. He started the pregame by dancing with the kennel, getting him amped. He played with good energy. He played with good bounce in that first half. He had 8 points to kind of face the offense, but the offense has been stuck in neutral for Gonzaga in the first half. They need to get out in front and play ahead of the defense of San Francisco more and turn some more of those 9 turnovers into more points.
Well, Gonzaga will have the ball as we start the second half. This is an important 20 minutes of hoops in the WCC.
Well, and from a Zags perspective, too, you had Anton Watson with 2 fouls. He missed a good 7 minutes of the first half. He only has 2 shot attempts. You'd like to see him get a little bit more involved. Ramike only has 3 shot attempts in the first half. So guys that you anticipate to be impactful haven't really impacted the game that much yet.
It's kind of been a theme on both sides. Ike gets involved right away.
I love the fact that the Zags come out of the break and you go to your post and you get Ike involved on that first possession and try to ignite him and get him going. You got to feed a big guy. If you ignore a big guy posting up, they get frustrated.
Lobo bounces it down low, and Marcus Williams just had to go right through his hands. Now San Francisco is going to keep the ball because the arrow favors them, but I mean Marcus Williams, another one of those guys who has put up big numbers for most of the year, has been invisible in this game.
Yeah, averaging 14 points per game, 0 at the half, and they post him up, and the ball literally just goes right through his hands. It was a good pass.
It was. And shot of Jumps did not play very well in the first half. He misses that one badly.
I love the outlet pass there to try to push and create tempo.
Ike down low, double team came, and then Malik Thomas stripped the ball away. Thomas on the move. Thomas swatted by Watson.
What a play by Anton Watson. And he just never gives up on anything, you know, just a competitor. That's going to be another turnover.
It could have been.
But Anton Watson in that trail position times it perfectly and just smacks it off the backboard.
San Francisco got off to a slow start offensively at the beginning of the game. They haven't scored yet here in the second half. Spin move, stripped away. Mobo underneath. Mobo scores.
There was a couple times he passed that up in the first half and didn't even take that shot. But a good job having being ready, because that could have been a turnover as well.
Ike spins. Newberry blocked it, but gets called for the foul.
Got it clean up top, but followed through, and that arm broke down enough to send Graham Ike to the line. Ike had 24 points against Pepperdine. It's one of 5 games this year that he's had with over 20 points. It's been in a much better stretch. He kind of got off to a little bit of a sluggish start. You know, a lot of fans looked at his numbers that he put up. You mentioned in the first half, almost 20 and 10 at Wyoming. And they go, well, that's the guy that we're going to get. But they forget there was like an 18-month period of time where he wasn't playing basketball. And so it's taken him some time to knock off the rust. And I think that as the season goes on, Graham Ike is just going to get better and better and more impactful for the Zags. I love the pressure here.
San Francisco almost didn't get it over in time. Now Thomas goes by, shot deflected. Rebounding has been a strength for San Francisco.
The shot clock didn't reset. I don't know if the Dons know it.
Williams shoots the 3 and hits it. Thought he got fouled.
Huge 3.
Hickman cut off baseline, and now another foul. So many whistles in this game.
The shot clock winding down. They finally realized a little step back. And Marcus Williams, 1 of 3 from deep in this game. Struggled last time out. Did not play well against St. Mary's. They need to get him engaged.
Hickman to Ike, and another bucket. No! Did everything but go down. And San Francisco ball. Williams got called for his 3rd personal a moment ago, so now he goes to the bench. Right after he'd hit a 3, that's bad timing for the Dons. Lobo, step back, too strong. Watson in transition.
Dangerous. When he gets out and runs the floor, he can finish as well as anybody in the country at the rim.
Shot of Johns. Hits the 3.
He's the transfer from Dayton.
There aren't that many players from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, who are playing college hoops. He's one of them. Rebound San Francisco.
Is there another?
I don't believe so, no.
Unofficially, we're going to go with the Dave Fleming unofficial, only one.
Ulaanbaatar. Newberry, spin move, tough shot with a foul. They call Ike for the personal. That's his third.
San Francisco continues to counterpunch. And a beautiful spin move and a good call. Graham Ike breaks down. He doesn't stay verticality floor to ceiling. He breaks his arms down forward enough to draw the foul and a potential N1 opportunity here.
And I think you pointed it out in the first half. And San Francisco's made 7 threes. So they made some outside shots. But they've been most effective when they've been aggressive going to the basket.
They're outscoring Gonzaga in the paint 16-14. The Zags have historically dominated opponents in this conference in the paint.
Nembhard out of bounds. Gonzaga will keep it. Rebounding numbers favoring San Francisco. Points in the paint.
Really the only category in which San Francisco is not out front of has been points off of turnovers. They've been careless with the ball and given opportunities. And Nolan Hickman, every single time, as much as we say, hey, San Francisco's answered, every time Gonzaga's needed a big shot here tonight, Nolan Hickman and the timeliness of his threes have been huge.
He's got 11 made threes for Hickman. Beasley finds shot of jumps, came up short this time. Ike playing with 3 fouls. Down low. Spin move.
What a spin.
Scores!
And that was such great awareness to understand where the double team was coming from. And Ike's awareness of positioning high on the block. Why don't you want to position yourself low? You position yourself a little bit high, you see the defense. Here comes the double team. I'll spin away from it, nobody's there. And one opportunity for Graham Ike. A little energy.
A lot of series history in favor of Gonzaga. San Francisco with all its great basketball history, but so much of that came in the more distant past. Gonzaga's won 27 straight in this rivalry. They're 39-2 all time against the Dons in Spokane. The last time San Francisco beat Gonzaga, you got to go back more than a decade. February of 2012. Came down to the final seconds at War Memorial, and the shot goes down close to the buzzer.
Look at the shorts.
That tells you it was a different era.
I mean, different shorts. Always been close games at War Memorial. Of course, they'll play this year when they go back to the Bay Area, but they're not playing at War Memorial. They're playing in the Chase Center, which is interesting because if you look at the metrics too, like if Gonzaga was to go down to the Chase Center and get a win against USF and the current net rankings stay the same, it's not a quad one victory. If that game was played 10 minutes away on campus, it's a quad one victory.
And that could hurt Gonzaga in terms of the tournament resume, which, you know, usually this time of year, you and I don't have to spend any time thinking about that. Ike completes it.
Well, we do.
Play.
We say, are they going to be a 1 or a 2 seed?
Right.
This year's different.
Very different. This year is, if they don't win the automatic bid, are the Zags a lock for the tournament? Good trap, but Beasley got out of it. Freshman Ryan Beasley, great high school career, coming off a big game.
I like Beasley. He's going to be the future of San Francisco's guard play moving forward. He's got a lot of potential. His ceiling is really high.
Meanwhile, Josh Coonan, it seems like he's been around forever at USF. Missed the shot.
I think Anton could have had a drive there right away. Coonan kind of jumped over. Good defense by Mobo. Dave, you were talking about, look at the resume for Gonzaga. The net ranking moved into the top 30. A quadrant 1 record, 0-3 this season. And to understand what a quadrant 1 is, that's a win at home against a top 30 net ranked team, a neutral site win over a top 50 team, or an away team over 75. And so that's what I'm talking about, was San Francisco currently in the high 50s. A home game would have been a potential quad 1.
Shot clock winding down, and the ball heaved up. Mobo comes away with it. Beasley in transition, 3, good for the freshman.
What a kick out by Mobo. His unselfishness and playmaking ability. He's a good passer, underrated passer, but he has awareness and an unselfish nature about him. Says his mom reminds him of it, Karen, who he calls every single game day to talk to and make sure he's mentally in the right frame of mind.
That shot no good. Coonan, defensive rebound.
I call my mom Vicky on every single game day, and she tells me, be nice today.
That's why Vicky and I get along so well.
She makes great brownies, too.
And your dad's a good guy, too. I like talking to Mike.
Well, we throw him in just, you know, way to go, Dad.
Marcus Williams back in with his 3 fouls. I think tried to draw a whistle, and that allowed Ike to beat him down the floor. Ike lays it in.
That's maybe the first time all game we've seen that throw ahead over the top of the defense. A good calculated leak out by Ike.
He's had a really nice first few minutes of this second half. Hickman trying to guard Coonan. That's a big size advantage, but Coonan gave it up. Here's Hawthorne stripped away. 2-on-2, Nembhard to Greg, and the ball taken by Beasley. Williams, I don't know what that was. I don't know. What I do know is it wasn't good, but I love you that.
This crowd has been waiting to get back into the game. Couple sloppy turnovers and not quite sure. Shot attempt, errant pass, irrelevant. Nembhard in transition. Uses the opposite side of the glass and the rim to protect and finish.
Hey, did you know that it's NBA Rivals Week? Saturday on ABC.
I didn't know that.
How about the lineup?
Good lineup.
3 games in a row.
Sixers, Joel Embiid going for 70. Going against the Denver Nuggets. That's not a bad matchup, is it? How about the Lakers and the Warriors? All 3 games on Saturday, 3 Eastern, 5:30, 8:30. Saturday on ESPN.
And ABC.
Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
Clippers, hottest team in the NBA. You want to go there? I mean, all that talk when they traded for James Harden, and Harden was struggling, and the team struggled, and they lost, I think, 5 in a row. Everybody's going, oh man, this isn't going to work. All they have is the best record in the NBA since that point in time.
You and I, every once in a while, maybe once a year, we remember when we were here for Kawhi Leonard at the Kennel against the Zags. A whistle and a foul against Gonzaga.
That was our first game we ever worked together.
That was a long time ago. And Kawhi Leonard and San Diego State, they came in here and beat Gonzaga.
I brought that up in the San Diego State game, which is why the fan probably, as I was walking at halftime, goes, "You don't like us anymore."
You got yelled at by a lady here. Going to.
I'm like, "Man, you lost the game. Like, I get paid to talk about what I see. That's not on me."
Marcus Williams, 3 came up way short. Marcus Williams having a tough go of it. Nembhard left his feet and threw it out of bounds.
Dave, it is really interesting, though, and it's worth pointing out when you talk about Gonzaga.
Yeah.
143 straight weeks they were ranked in the top 25. A lot of those were ranked #1 in the country. Consistently inside the top 10. A standard of excellence that really has been unparalleled. #1 winning percentage in college basketball for quite some time. And so when you have a season where the fans aren't accustomed to seeing non-conference losses, you start going, whoa, what's this? And everybody's got to panic and let this team run its own race. Like, is this team as good as the team that Jalen Suggs led to the Final Four?
Yeah, it's not.
No. But is this team good enough to win the conference championship and go into the NCAA tournament, advance to the second weekend? It very well could be. And one of the big parts is Graham Ike. He's got 9 points here in the second half after only having 3 in the first half.
Hickman blocked by shot of jumps. That was good defense. And for a moment at least, San Francisco's got a numbers advantage. Newberry, high arcing 3, way short. Here's Thomas's 3. That one's off to the side.
And Momo should get that offensive rebound and look to turn and attack off of it. The kick out 3 is good when it's open. That was not an open look. Ike's found looks here in the second half, and the Zags have taken a 1-point lead.
Well, the top 4 in the West Coast Conference net ranking. St. Mary's has moved all the way up to 23. Zags been on the rise, 28. San Francisco kind of in that no man's land, 58. Santa Clara, I think it does hurt the WCC. Broncos have been so up and down. I mean, they went on the road, beat Stanford. They have some quality wins. They beat Gonzaga on their home floor, but their net ranking all the way down at 112.
It does. It hurts. Those are the top 4 teams in the conference. And it's why when we talk about Quad 1, and I understand you're at home, you're listening to us talk about Quadrant 1 and net rankings and all these things. It's important as far as seeding goes and positioning goes. And you want to be on the right side of the bubble. And unlike what we've seen in many years of Gonzaga being in the top 10, 28 you think is really good, but when you think about the fact they have 0 Quad 1 victories this year, they had 8 last year, 11 the year before that, 12 the year before that. And there's not many opportunities when you look at the strength of the conference and the net rankings currently to find Quad 1 victories, which puts added importance on every single game they play, and certainly added importance in Las Vegas.
Watson 3 in and out.
Conference tournament is going to be massively important this year. Those games against St. Mary's that are coming up a week from Saturday right here in this building. Final Saturday of conference play in Moraga.
Just huge games. Meanwhile, San Francisco, their offense has gone really cold and tell there. Newberry, that high arcing 3 goes down. They missed their last 6 shots from the field.
Dave, they didn't score for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and it still was only a 1-point lead for Gonzaga. I mean, how many games have you and I called in this building where an opponent goes 4 minutes without scoring, and it's a 15-0 run?
You're toast. Ike down low, spun. Went to the ground, and they'll say jump ball. No travel. So Gonzaga keeps it. I think they got a break there.
I think you still play for Graham Ike every time down the floor.
Yeah.
He's been your best offense here in the second half. And he's playing with confidence and strength on the block.
Newberry and Mobo are both strong, but not sort of classic big men. Nembhard. That two goes down.
He kind of just was probing and looking, trying to see if anything was going to be available. And when he pulled it back at the last second, he saw a little bit of a gap. He's been very smart with the basketball.
Tie game, under 10 minutes to go. We said it was a huge 20 minutes in the WCC. Stromer gets the block on the jumper. Nice defense from the freshman. Watson downhill. Whistle, and I think they're going to call a foul on the floor.
And they did. They called it on the floor. And Anton Watson has struggled to really engage in this game. Only 4 shot attempts on the game so far. And he needs to do more of that. We've seen it twice now in the second half where rebound gets grabbed by somebody else on the team. Shoot out and try to run ahead of the defense and get that momentum going downhill. Good things will happen.
Extra pass. Stromer three. Too strong. Rebound. Newberry. That's been a difference for Gonzaga. And it's not to put too much on Dusty Stromer, but good ball movement, get an open look, and those threes don't go down as frequently for this Gonzaga team. Thomas, tough runner, way off the mark.
Great entry pass.
Yeah, good position, good entry pass, but missed the shot.
He made it a more difficult shot by bringing it back to the left-hand side instead of just catching and going straight up to the rim.
Game stays tied. Mobo. Haven't been able to get him any shot looks. Well, Stromer for the foul. It's only the third team foul against Gonzaga.
But I'm really surprised that offensively we haven't seen a better flow from really either team yet. And you'd like to credit the defense, and it's important to acknowledge that both teams are better defensively in a lot of ways. San Francisco certainly is from where they were a season ago. But offensively, neither team has been able to really execute with any kind of efficiency in consecutive possessions, Dave.
Yeah, that was a good job by Newberry. I mean, look, we're not picking on Huff, but he comes in the game. Newberry immediately on the attack and drew the personal foul. See if they try to get Newberry the ball again. Shot of Johnson, long three, and Ben Gregg clears the defensive board. I don't know about that shot.
I don't know about having Mobo come up and set that screen, because you've got Anton Watson going into a switch with Ben Gregg. I'd bring Newberry up. Huff is not as good laterally in defending the screens.
Still tied now, under 8 to go. Hickman got knocked down by Beasley. And Hickman hit the floor kind of hard. He's holding his neck.
Yeah, he kind of slid into Hawthorne after the foul took place, and he was tripped. He made contact to Hawthorne. Neither team scoring at all. It's been over 2 minutes since we've seen a point in this game by either team. But watch the dive as he falls. Hawthorne's knee hits the side of Hickman. Hopefully he's okay. He's been good from beyond the arc here this evening.
You got that big game in the SEC on Saturday. Before that, though, on ESPN, Kansas State, Houston starts it off noon Eastern. Carolina, Florida State at 2 Eastern. Clemson, Duke at 4 Eastern. Then you roll into Arkansas, Kentucky. Just a full day of college hoops. On Saturday, here we go. Tie game, under 8.
Houston got a nice win at BYU the other night on ESPN Plus on Big 12 now.
They did.
Big 12, all those games have been so competitive this year. I'll be down TCU Baylor this weekend.
Baylor's talented team. Houston, obviously. BYU leaving the West Coast Conference. Great non-conference season for the Cougars. Anton Watson along the baseline puts Gonzaga ahead.
That's where he's gotten really, really good. And I think you just ISO EK when he's out there, ISO Anton Watson when he's out there, and let these guys go one-on-one with their back to the basket. The perimeter shots outside of Nolan Hickman haven't been great today for the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
5 field goal attempts for Watson. Newberry. Don's had that one basket. Otherwise, it's been 5 or 6 minutes without much offensively. Under the basket, Beasley traveled.
Yeah, he turned around and Huff was standing right in front of him. He wasn't anticipating Huff still being there. Caused him to lose his balance, and yet another turnover for San Francisco. I think if you told Chris Grilifson, hey, by the way, the Zags are going to have 50 points 33 minutes into the game, he'd say, wow, we must be playing really well. The problem is they're 1 for their last 11, and they turned it over 12 times. That's why that first possession in the second half was so key to get the ball to Graham Ike. Allow him to score early. Make him know that he's a point of emphasis in the offense.
Watson driving in. Anton Watson off the glass. And another timeout. San Francisco. Zags are on a run.
An 8-0 run for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And Dave, at this point in time, to me, it's Watson and Ike all game long the rest of the way. A good pin and seal high. He's posted up above the block that allows him to spin to the baseline. And then Anton Watson's playmaking ability. That is a very difficult shot floating away, but one that Anton Watson can finish consistently. And I think you just play through those two guys the remainder of the way. I don't see any reason to go away from it until San Francisco can show you that they can stop it. And what Gonzaga's realized also is in the first half, they were doubling the post, but they were doubling from the high side. They were coming down with a guard. You lift your post ever so slightly. That allows you to now understand the double team's still coming from the high side. You spin baseline, there's nobody there. Everybody else is rotating and staying close to their guys. Good execution and good adjustment by Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs to lift Ike ever so slightly above the box to create that space. We saw him on the far side, spin to the baseline, and one opportunity. Get on this side, spin to the baseline, dunk at the cup.
Coach Few, we were talking with Mark before the game today about shortening the bench a little bit, maybe leaning on those couple 3 players more heavily than Gonzaga's had to in the past. Meanwhile, San Francisco's offense has just disappeared. Thomas down the lane. Ike Mobo tried to follow with a dunk, but a foul was called on the initial shot attempt, I believe.
Well, and Dave, you were talking about shortening the bench for Gonzaga. Only 4 points of the 54 have come off the bench this evening.
Now, that is a foul against Ike.
That'll be his 4th.
You wonder if Mark Few,
I think you got to take him out right now.
Wants to buy a couple minutes here. So far, nobody budging from the bench. This hits the first.
Mark Few very content.
Yeah, it's gutsy.
I would take him out. I'd put Huff back in the game at this point. And then I'd just post Watson up. I'd just invert and change out Watson for Ike. Either that or you can even go small and put Stromer in and move Ben Gregg down and just go with a smaller lineup. It's not like the size of San Francisco is so physically imposing that those guys couldn't defend as well as they could maybe have an advantage at the offensive end.
Second free throw for Malik Thomas is good. He's got 8. He's got 10 straight games with 10 or more. It's been a quiet game for him.
It's been a quiet game for Marcus Williams. Now 1 of 7 still for San Francisco. If they're going to win this game, he's going to have to score down the stretch a little bit more.
Watson makes his move. Watson, another bucket for Anton Watson. Can't stop him. Nope.
Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Sometimes we overcomplicate the game. Like, I think one of the things that Tennessee and Rick Barnes has done so well recently is when Dalton Connect gets going, they just play through Dalton Connect, and they keep feeding him. And right now, Anton Watson, Graham Ike, they have the advantage. They're quicker, they're smarter, they're more precise and efficient with the ball in their hands, attacking the hoop and applying pressure in the interior of this defense.
And meanwhile, on this end, don't you think San Francisco, Ike's on the floor with 4 fouls. Don't you think you have to challenge him?
Right now, drive him. The whole floor was cleared out. Mobo has not been nearly as aggressive as I anticipated or thought that he would be in this game.
Yes, it's kind of hard to understand. Thomas, he draws another foul. They call Ben Gregg. Thomas kind of kicked that leg out, and he got the whistle.
Dave, so much of the game of basketball is about matchups, right? And to your point, Graham Ike's come out here in the second half. He's got 14 points, 11 of which have come in the second half. Don't you want him out of the game?
Yeah. I don't understand it. Mark Few doesn't understand the call. Another point at the free throw line for Malik Thomas. Jonathan Mobo's having a great year, but and maybe it's on his coach to help him out, but he's just kind of floating out there.
Well, but there's been opportunities to be assertive. And this is part of the evolution of his game, though, right? He averaged 8 points a game. You're not the dude when you're averaging 18.
At Missouri State.
At Missouri State. But now you come here and you're averaging 15-plus points per game. Second best field goal percentage in the country. You're the guy. And on the road, you need to make sure you're aggressive and you set the tone. And I think that's the next growth step for Mobo to have.
Nembhard got pinned in the corner, so Mark Few calls a timeout. Sensed a turnover coming. Through all of it, the Dons are only down 4.
And they've not made a shot in almost 6 minutes of play.
Yeah.
Down 4, and they haven't made a field goal in 6 minutes.
And they've weathered quite a 1-2 punch for the Zags down low in this second half, Ike and Watson.
And this was the first possession. Look, post high, spin baseline. Understanding where the double team is coming. Spin baseline. Go ahead and finish. And Anton Watson, we mentioned at the break, he was 1 of 2 shooting in the first half. He's now 5 of 7, and he's got 10 points. And everything is attacking the interior. And if I'm San Francisco in this timeout, I'm thinking, dude, we got to change the way we're defending the post. So we can't get caught and continue to give up baseline to Ike. We got to make sure we're pressuring Anton Watson and not allowing him to get ahead of steam down into the paint on us, because the lack of rim protection will get exposed. And wouldn't be opposed to seeing a zone defense by San Francisco to kind of collapse inside the paint and try to see if they can force Gonzaga to shoot out over the top, where the Zags have not shot the ball excessively well.
They called a foul against Tuedo Newberry away from the ball. Shot clock was winding down. Not the bonus yet, but it does put the clock back up to 20. Newberry called for the personal. That's his 4th. He's got 16 to lead the way for the Dons. See what the call was.
Trying to be physical and just grab Graham Ike for no reason as he starts to go away to set the on-ball screen.
Hickman found Gregg. 3. Good! Biggest lead for Gonzaga right here. Hawthorne to answer. Well off the mark. Here comes Demhart. Watson. Good. Anton Watson's big second half continues. Bad pass, Marcus Williams. That's a San Francisco turnover. Doesn't shoot many threes. He was tempted. That's more his style.
Dave, in a night in which we've seen no offensive rhythm, the Zags have just put on a clinic. They've made their last 6 shot attempts and a 7-0 run over the last minute.
They're getting the right looks from the right players. There's kind of a heave, the long rebound. Ike knocked it over to Hickman. Meanwhile, San Francisco's offense has disintegrated.
It's been almost 8 minutes since the last time they made a bucket. But give credit to Gonzaga's defense. Everything has been contested. Everything has been out over the top.
Ike, another one down low. He'll go to the free throw line.
The run starts with great vision, great awareness. Hickman, diagonal, one-handed flipper over the top. Ben Gregg shot ready, rains it down. And after they hit the 3, they go right back to the bread and butter. That's been in the paint and attacking here in the second half. Zags enjoying their biggest lead of the game at 11 here late in the second half. And the second half tone was set on the very first possession. Go in the paint and score. And they have heard the message. They have paid heed to the message. And they have outscored San Francisco 18-4 in the second half in points in the paint. It was a first half advantage of 12-10 for San Francisco. In the second half, Graham Ike, Anton Watson get to the block and be assertive. And the Zags have always been a team that has dominated inside the paint. And Ike and Watson have combined for 23 of the 33 second half points for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Excellent job by Mark Few and his coaching staff at the half delivering the message. And the message was clear. Score on the rim, get to the paint, be aggressive.
2 more free throws for Ike. And look, we also need to credit the future Hall of Famer Mark Few, because he left his big man in the game with 4 fouls with what, 6+ to go. Turned out to be a good move.
Well, San Francisco hasn't tried to post him up one time.
I mean, not one time.
I mean, they haven't attacked him off the bounce once. So if you're gonna allow him to stay out on the floor, then I think great move by Mark Few.
Marcus Williams lobs it up, and Mobo, that wasn't a great lob pass, and Mobo showed off the athleticism to catch it and throw it down. Maybe a little too late. Pressure for the Dons. They're going to target Watson and foul him. And Anton Watson's so good, but he's not a great free throw shooter. How about the catch and dunk?
Yeah, not a great pass. He caught that well beyond the back of his head. Finish above the rim, an elite level athlete. That's why there's been numerous times tonight when I talk about Mobo where I feel like that athleticism against a team in Gonzaga that doesn't have a shot blocker. Why not be assertive? Why not you be aggressive?
Yeah, I don't understand the offensive plan in the last, say, 5-6 minutes for USF. Still have a shot, though. Williams, and that one goes down. That makes it a little easier. Lead is down to 8. And they're going to foul Ike, another guy that you put at the free throw line. And
Newberry just fouled out of the game, though.
Yeah. Which, not ideal. But I don't think you can be picky when you're down 8 with 2 minutes to go, and the guy you want shooting free throws has the ball. But give Ike credit, he's 6 of 7 at the line tonight.
He's had a sensational second half. 15 of the 18 have come in the second 20.
For a big man, 72%, not terrible at the line. I think you said it when it happened. That first play out of the locker room in the second half set the tone for the rest of the game. Laid out the game plan.
But Dave, understanding the game plan and executing, sometimes two very different things. Right? Like players can, the personal thought process of this is an open shot I should take versus this is an open shot I could make, but my teammates on the block and we want to try to get the ball down low. And we're going to break down their defense, attacking it from the inside. And the unselfishness by everybody on the floor for Gonzaga, I think, has been huge here in the second half.
6 20-point game of the year for Ike. San Francisco's got to go, and they got to go now. Williams on the baseline hits the jumper. They set up the pressure again. Nembhard out in the open, and Mark Few wants him to work the clock.
Ike, when he inbounded that ball, though, you can run the baseline after a made shot. You don't stand underneath the basket. Limits what you can do as far as inbounds go. Got away with it that time.
Greg, 3. No. Rebound. Ike had a hand on it. And they're going to call a foul, I think, against Thomas.
It is. Ike gets his hands on it. I thought there could have been a foul on that. They didn't call it. Thomas just trying to do all he can to keep Anton Watson away from the ball. Watson 0 for 3 at the free throw line this evening.
Takes that
one. This Zags team is built differently, right? Like we've seen some teams that overpower. And you and I watched Chet Holmgren play last night against the San Antonio Spurs. We saw some magical moments out of Chet when you and I calling these games. But this is a team that's going to have to fight a little bit more for wins. They're going to have to be a little bit tougher mentally and physically. They're going to have to make adjustments to try to find the weakness in their opponent. And tonight, across the board, they've done it in the second half.
Thomas will go to the free throw line. Got Watson to commit the foul. I mean, barring a disaster, Gonzaga is going to get a win here tonight. And I think you're right. You gotta evaluate this team a little differently than all these great teams. We're talking about top 5 type teams for Gonzaga year after year. It's a different year.
We were here in 2013 when they made the cake. Do you remember the cake?
Yeah.
The big number 1 cake, the first time this program ever ascended to number 1 in the country. It was a good cake.
The cake got made a lot of times from that point over the next decade.
They just stopped making the cake because it became expected.
It was.
You know, I mean, that's the crazy thing about what Mark Few has been able to accomplish here. The 700 wins in themselves is nuts. But the ascension of this program and the consistency we've seen has been off the charts good. And so that's why when there's a year like we're seeing right now, got to let this team be who they are. And can't turn the ball over there. That's the one thing Zags can't do.
And then the Dons just gave it back. That was their chance right there. You get the gift turnover. And then they just handed it right back to Gonzaga. Watson will go to the free throw line. That will probably do it. Well, meanwhile, for San Francisco, this will be their second conference loss. They'll drop them 2 games behind St. Mary's, and they will have lost head-to-head matchups against both the Zags and the Gales.
Those are the 2 best teams in the conference. So what you got to do is manage the psychological impact of that and losing back-to-back games and making sure your team understands, hey, there's a lot of basketball left to go. We get both of them again. Breathe.
And one more quick reminder, we got women's college hoops on Sunday for you, 3 Eastern. Been a great year for women's college basketball. Great game tonight in Baton Rouge. South Carolina got out of there with a win. Tennessee and Ole Miss, 3 Eastern on Sunday on ESPN. Both free throws missed by Watson. Williams launches three. Good. You watch him hit these shots and you think, how does he go a game without making shots and no impact? And he had a really tough night tonight, but here in the final minutes, he's knocked down a couple really tough jumpers.
Can I tell you why?
Why?
Not thinking.
Yeah.
You're not thinking.
Just let
Basketball,
it fly.
you got to let it fly. He's just letting it rip. I mean, it's like watching Brock Purdy throwing that out pass to Conley late in the game against the Packers. The wide receiver that's barely on the field. He makes the cut. You see him open. Let it rip and deliver it. Can you tell I'm a Niners fan? Because a lot of guys would have said Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I'm tired of the Brock Purdy slander. Got an opportunity against the Detroit Lions this weekend to quiet a lot of people.
Yeah. Now, you and I are not chirping, but some are, and he's had a great year, and you and I both think that the Niners are going to the Super Bowl.
I do.
And it's going to be fun to watch.
Our producer, by the way, is from Detroit and is dying with this conversation in the truck right now.
We'll give Jared Goff a little love, too.
Why is he yelling, kill the mics in my ear? Yeah. I don't get that.
It's been great. But what a story it would be if the Lions pull off the upset and go to the Super Bowl themselves.
Hey, huge. It is a great story. And, you know, that the elevation of programs, the ascension of what Dan Campbell's been able to do in Detroit, I think you look at this conference in particular and you start to look around the fact that Gonzaga has been the top dog for so long in this conference. And St. Mary's has been the one that has kind of been around them the most. BYU removed itself from the conference, goes to the Big 12 this year. Obviously, good year for the Cougars so far. But the question becomes, who wants to join those two programs that have been top 10 winning percentages in all of college basketball over the last 10 years in the Gales and the Bulldogs? And I think USF has the capabilities to do that. Tonight's been a little disappointing. They've shown some resiliency and some toughness, though, down the stretch here. But you can't go 7-8 minutes without making a shot on the road and find a way to win against an opponent like Gonzaga.
Yeah, right. They got the clock right, so 58.9 seconds. Gonzaga ball, closest it's been in a long time after those last shots from Marcus Williams. So now if you're USF, can you find a way to, well, I mean, here's the problem with Anton Watson missing free throws. Gonzaga's taken him out of the game. So is there a player you want to target and try to get the ball in his hands and foul?
To me, with the lineup that's out on the floor right now, it's probably still Graham Ike. Either that or Ben Gregg.
Ben Gregg catches, and they'll foul him. So Gregg will be the one to shoot the free throws.
I mean, Stromer is almost automatic at the free throw line, almost 90% for him. He's the one that checked in the game. They're going to go offense, defense, substitution. Stromer will check right back out of the game, and Anton Watson will come in the game.
Well, the starting lineup change for the Zags, I think, has been effective. This will be the first free throws for Gregg tonight. Now, this will make it 3 wins in a row, assuming Gonzaga hangs on. Dons are trying to extend this game. They need more help. Swapped once again. Six-point lead. Make it 7. Another tough shot, goes off the iron, gets the carom, and scores around the rim. And now you got Watson on the floor. He's going to be the inbounder. Nembhard double teamed, pinned in the corner, and they call a foul. Wow.
Well, they called it inside the cylinder. A cylinder foul of stepping in to Nembhard.
That was a tough spot for Nembhard. That's a little bit of a bailout by the Dons to commit that foul.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He stepped into him. You can't do that. You just hold your position. Really,
you got
great double team with great length on a smaller player. That is a lucky and fortunate break for Gonzaga.
Now a very good free throw shooter at the line. San Francisco not going quietly here. And with every free throw miss, those slim odds get a little better. That one misses.
Wow.
I mean, Dons, if a shot goes in here, they have a chance. Williams, nice shot fake, and he made it. 36 seconds, and the lead is down to 3.
This is incredible, Dave.
They've done a good job of extending the game. Now they have to use a timeout because they couldn't get the ball in.
Dave, with 35 seconds ago,
we were talking about, okay, Gonzaga win, move on.
You and I are talking about Brock Purdy and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Hey, college basketball has been so good this year. And I know that the narrative of we don't have a great team. You're right. We don't. We have some really good teams. But what we've had every single night, no matter where you are, has been highly competitive games. Some wild finishes. Some great court stormings, as long as they're safe. But it's been competitive and it has been fun. And the whole adage of ESPN, watch this. If you're not watching college basketball and you just wait till March, you're missing a lot of good action. And conference play always brings out a higher intensity. Teams that are so familiar with one another, they know the plays, they know the calls, they know what you want to do.
Well, this is huge. I mean, this is a 3-point game. San Francisco's done a great job here. Now Ben Gregg catches. They get it back to Watson, and they got to foul him. They do. Mobo finally fouls him. And Watson is the guy. You want him on the line. Ianton Watson is a great player, but he's not a great free throw shooter. He's 2 of 7 at the line tonight. And if he misses the first of these two, things are getting a little more pressure filled. I mean, no matter what happens, San Francisco still has a chance in this game.
How about the fight of the Dons here?
Yeah.
The press has been good.
And that one misses.
Woo. This is unreal. Yeah, Nembhard misses 2. Watson struggling at the line. And the door, the window, whatever you're looking, it's been cracked.
Yeah, it's open. That one is a big one. San Francisco would take a 3 if they get an open look. They don't have to have one.
Because you got to be quick, and you cannot turn it over. That is unbelievable. A poor exchange in a dribble handoff. And just so difficult here on the exchange, the flip, and really Marcus Williams bubbled it before he even got it to him clean. Execution in pivotal moments. If you go back and you watch film in close losses, it's really 1 or 2 possessions where you just didn't handle the ball correctly.
Wow, and they let Ben Gregg get out of there. They didn't foul him. Now, Gregg is a good free throw shooter, but a couple extra seconds tick off the clock. Then you foul the best free throw shooter,
who just missed 2. I mean, that is the one thing, though, right? Like, I mean, is it in Nembhard's head at all that he had stepped to the line and he missed 2?
We got a.
That'll be on Thomas. That's his 5th personal foul. He'll be the 2nd Don to foul out of the game.
Well, San Francisco will use this as like a mini timeout. Well, they still have a prayer in this one, but that turnover was so costly just a moment ago. You had the ball 30 seconds left, down 4, and you give it back. Now Nembhard back to the free throw line. This is almost the perfect encapsulation of this year for it's just not as easy for the Zags. No.
Oh my goodness.
Not a real confident stroke from a very good shooter.
84% on the season.
Yeah. This one should look a little more confident. It missed.
He missed 3 out of 4, Dave.
Wow.
You need the 3, it needs to be quick.
Yeah, Williams passed up the 3. Gregg immediate foul with 15.6 on the clock. Back to a 3-point game and back to the free throw line. Look, I know it can be agonizing. You watch these games and the final seconds can take so long. This is what you're trying to do when you're behind, though.
This is perfect execution by San Francisco.
Extend the game any way you can.
By any means possible.
And they started, one thing that I love about
they started the 2-minute mark.
They started with 2 minutes to go. Ben Gregg's been confident at the line. 3 for 3 now tonight.
Don't need the 3 this time. With the 5-point differential, get it going to the basket, but you got to go downhill as soon as you pick it up. Here, go.
Yeah, got to go.
You don't have time.
Yeah, you just have to go. You got Watson in the air. They got the whistle, and he'll shoot 3 free throws.
Oh my goodness.
It was not much contact, but the whistle was blown. And now you got to make all of them.
I'm watching. I don't see it, Dave.
There was some contact.
Dave, I don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't see that. That's not a foul.
Lead down to 4.
Think that's a foul?
Now the Dons a critical miss at the line. Made 2 out of 3. Gregg, the inbounder, gets it into Ike, and he gets fouled. Still 8.3 seconds on the clock.
If you joined us with 1 minute left to go in this game, I sure hope you had a lot of time left in your night.
Well, if Ike makes both of these, I mean, I'm not going to say the game's over, but we'll go a long way. They got the first one.
Ike has been really good at the free throw line tonight. 9 of 10 from the free throw line, 21 points.
Yep, huge part of this if Gonzaga wins it. His free throw shooting. Made them both. Williams got a good look, missed the 3, rebound Gregg, and it's finally over.
Can be exhausting, right? Both coaches sweating that one out. Good execution by San Francisco. Zags did a great job of scoring in the paint, and Graham Ike at the free throw line seals the deal. 10 of 11.
28th straight win for the Zags against the Dons. For Sean Farnham, Dave Fleming saying so long. Thanks for being with us. SportsCenter coming up next.